The Kensington Runestone is a strange out-of-place object that may prove the Vikings came to Minnesota before Christopher Columbus's journey to North America. The question is if the runestone is legit. It all started in 1898 when Olaf Ullman found a large stone on his farm near Kensington, Minnesota. The stone was found tangled in the roots of an aspen tree. The stone was around the size of a grave headstone and was made of gray sandstone called greywacke. The stone was covered in writing, later found to be Scandinavian runes. These runes were translated, and the generally accepted translation is this: "We are 8 Goths and 22 Norwegians on an exploration journey from Vinland through the west. We had camped by a lake with 2 skerries. 1 day's journey north from this stone. We were out and fished 1 day. After we came home, we found 10 of our men red with blood and dead. Hail Virgin Mary, save us from evil. We have 10 of our party by the sea to look after our ships. 14 days' journey from this island. Year 1362. These runes claim the Norse traveled to North America and made their way through Minnesota, which is quite the distance. The inscription also shows the date 1362, which is 130 years before Christopher Columbus, meaning the history books would have to be rewritten. But there are some problems with the out-of-place object that causes some doubt in its authenticity. The Kensington Runestone is made of greywacke, which is a hard sandstone. It would have been exposed to the elements for 700 years and should have noticeable wearing on the stone, especially on the carved runes. This weathering would have allowed researchers to date when the stone was carved. Interesting enough, Scott Walter, a Minnesota geologist that is known for his American Unearthed series, Walter dated the runes and said they were more than 200 years old. Walter's results are still questioned to this day, and if we take a look back earlier in his career, we might find something interesting. Walter's first appearance on TV was as a Kensington Runestone expert, which may or may not have given a boost to his career, as he'd be soon hosting the American Unearthed series not long after. There may be no connection at all, but you never know. His dating of the stone gave a lot of people what they wanted to hear, and I think it may be important to hold Walter's findings with a grain of salt. Let's take a look at the story on the stone itself and whether or not it adds up. 14 days' journey from this island. In the stone inscription, it says their ships are 14 days away. If the Norse actually made it to Minnesota, the best possible route would be a 14-day journey to the southern part of Hudson Bay, which is around 1,300 kilometers, or around 800 miles in 14 days. To put that in perspective, a fully trained walker can go around 100 miles in a span of 24 hours. The minimum amount of miles needed to walk that distance in 14 days would be around 58 miles or 93.3 kilometers a day. We also have to take into account that the mountainous terrain will play a factor in how much ground you could cover in a day. All in all, it is technically possible to travel that distance in 14 days, but adding in difficult terrain, it would likely be extremely difficult. On the Kensington Runestone, it mentions the explorers came from Vinland, the land of grapes. I talked about Vinland and Leif Erikson in one of my previous videos, so if you're interested, make sure to check it out. The location of Vinland has not been found, although a Viking settlement has been found in the Ox Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada. It is certainly no land of grapes, and is a large distance away, but it does give us at least something to work with. Another part of the rune inscription mentions a massacre. After we came home, we found 10 of our men red with blood and dead. I think this is something to think about. The explorers came back to find 10 of their men dead. The last thing you would do is take the time to carve a stone, risking a chance to be ambushed yet again. That just doesn't make any sense in my view. We looked at the content that was carved into the Kensington Runestone, but what about how it was written as a whole? Experts, even from 1899, were skeptical of the Kensington Runestone. They did have Scandinavian runes carved into the stone, but there were too many problems with the vocabulary from the Scandinavian languages of the 14th century, meaning it was likely the person that carved the stone was trying to imitate the 14th century with some knowledge of Scandinavian runes. Now the question is, if the Kensington Runestone is a hoax, which it is looking that way, who could the hoaxer be? The hoaxer had knowledge of Scandinavian runes and had the skill to carve the stone to make it look authentic. The person likely responsible for the hoax is Olaf Olfman. Olaf was thought to have not much education, but it is said that he did own a book that contained information on Scandinavian runes. It is said that his friend, a former pastor, Sev Fogabald, possibly had knowledge on runes as well and could have helped him create the hoax. It is possible, if this is indeed a hoax, that Olaf and maybe his friend did this because they despise academics and did the hoax to humiliate them. Apparently, a son of one of Olaf's neighbors claimed that his father told him that he helped Olaf forge the fake runestone. If I were to play devil's advocate, which I think is important to do, Olaf Olfman never admitted to a hoax, and it is still possible that the idea of Olaf having a grudge against academics and what the neighbor's son said could be pointless gossip. In my opinion, the Kensington Runestone is likely a hoax. The exposure on the stone doesn't add up to something that was enduring the elements for 700 years. Although the 14-day trek the Norsemen would have to have made would have been slightly possible. The inscription about the massacre and how the inscriptions were written, in general, counter that. The Norsemen's supposed actions just don't make any sense to me, and sounds more like the creator of the inscriptions was trying to create an epic tale instead of describing an actual event. It is possible the Kensington Runestone is in fact real. I'm open to that possibility. It is just that the evidence for it hasn't convinced me just yet. Hey guys, there's a few important details I missed. The tree in which the runestone was found and tangled in was estimated to be 30 to 40 years old. Olaf made it to the US in 1879 and bought the farm in 1890, and wouldn't have likely have had the time to plant the tree. The date the stone was found is not clear. The date ranges from August to November 8th, and the stone's discovery was recorded 10 years after it was found. Once the Kensington Runestone was thought to be a hoax by experts, Olaf gave it away. This is not something I think a hoaxer would do. If Olaf was the hoaxer, I would expect him to keep up the claim that it was real, but he didn't. I still haven't changed my mind that the runestone is a hoax, but I'm now not so sure that Olaf Olfman created the hoax. And I can see why people are invested in this out-of-place object. It was very interesting to look into, and I look forward to doing more of these types of videos in the near future. Thanks for watching. What do you guys think about the Kensington Runestone? Do you think it's a hoax, or is it real? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me out, and subscribe for more history content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.